Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night, depending on what time you're watching this next episode from me, Avomance, in the Life on Minecraft series. Now, we have covered some amazing life on this Minecraft universe. Animals, plants, we even did villagers last week, and this time we're sticking with the same theme. Today, yep, it is the Illager. Illagers are a mostly hostile mob that belong to the same mob family as villagers, wandering traders and witches. However, their grey skin does give away their different feelings towards people. They do not like you at all. Now, it is said that the Illagers used to be part of the villager community, but they were nasty to the villagers, and as a result they were cast out and became their own tribe. This is why they are the mortal enemies of the villagers. Illagers don't even trust each other. Look at these two. They're having a face-off. Illagers were actually added to the game in September 2016 in the 1.11 update. However, some extra Illagers called Pillagers were added in the 1.14 update, specifically in the snapshot 18W43A, which was back in October 2018. Before we move on from this Pillager outpost, I just want to give a definition of Illager because it's actually not quite right. If you consider all of the mobs that come in a Pillager raid that we will talk about a little bit later, whilst all of them are kind of referred to as Illagers, they're actually not. The only way a mob can be a true Illager is if it categorises with both of two things. First off, will it be attacked by a Vindicator that is labelled Johnny, and we'll talk about that a little bit later. And also, will it be harmed by a Evoker summoning up its fang magic? If it doesn't get harmed by that and doesn't be attacked by a Johnny Vindicator, then it is a true Illager. Now that does not include mobs such as the Ravager and even the Vex. The first Illager variety is the Pillager, which is this fella here that looks like he's something out of the Highlander movie, holding his crossbow with his ominous banner stuck to the back of his head. It literally is stuck to the back of his head there, look. I wonder how they do that, maybe super glue. He is the leader of a Pillager patrol. I'm going to talk about him in a little while. The next up is the Vindicator. He's got his tartan trousers on and he's got his arms crossed, but don't you be fooled, this Vindicator is a nasty piece of work. He has got an axe shoved up that sleeve that he would love to firmly plant between the shoulder blades. We then have the Evoker. The Evoker is the first of two magic Illagers, and he is a pretty powerful guy, and you'll find him in Woodland Mansions. We'll talk about him in a moment. And then finally, this guy wearing pyjamas is a Java only Illager, and you can't get him naturally. There's no spawn egg, there's no natural place that he's going to spawn. He will only come into the world if you summon him. /summon Illusioner. This is the Illusioner, and he is a really nasty piece of work. Illagers can spawn in a number of different places naturally in the world. The first example is a woodland mansion, these massive structures that you often find in dark oak forests. They are full of Vindicators and Evokers. The next is the Pillager outpost, specifically for Pillagers, and they are absolutely crawling around this one. Pillagers also naturally spawn in patrols. They come in groups of 5, although 2 groups of 5 can sometimes join together, and you can get ravagers in these as well, although that's much more rare. You get one leader with the banner, but if you kill the leader with the banner, another one will pick the banner up and he'll become the new leader. You'll also get a really horrible enchantment, Bad Omen. That curse will mean that you get village raids, and I'll talk about those later. You've then got Illager raids, which happen when you've got the Bad Omen effect and wander aimlessly into a village. I'm not going to do it right now, but we are going to do it shortly. We are going to dig into the Pillager a little bit more. You can see here, he is distrusting of me, even when I am in creative, which is quite unusual for a mob. It's basically not a fan. But they carry around almost exclusively crossbows, and they fire those crossbows about every 5 or 6 seconds at one of their foes. Now they'll pick a villager over a player unless the player bashes the pillager first, and then the pillager decides that the player is far more interested in the villager. Now there are also telepathic, you know, in the same way that zombies, if they get attacked, they put out a call to other zombies in the location, and all of them come and try and eat your face. Well, pillagers are the same. They call for reinforcements every time that you hit them. Now, pillagers come in 3 different locations. These awesome, gorgeous pillager outposts where they literally cover the landscape. You try and take on one of these on your own, you are going to have fun. They also spawn in raids, and finally they spawn in the patrols. In fact, they're almost exclusively the complete content of a patrol. Now, as I've already mentioned, these pillagers will be carrying around a crossbow. But what's quite interesting is that if they keep firing at you for long enough, those crossbows will ultimately lose their health and they will break the same way as if you were using them. And as a result of that, the pillager will be left without a weapon. And that makes them act in a really funny way. We're going to try and make that happen now. I am basically going to just stand here and let this fella keep shooting at me. He couldn't hit me. Oh, yes he can, if I was on the inside of a barn. But I've got 4 pieces of armor protection on here. And this is protection from projectiles, level 4 on all 4 of my items. So he's not really going to do me an awful lot of damage, which is quite fun. But I do have food and I do have potions of regeneration just in case. So let's let him just carry on shooting at me. I really love the animation of him pulling back the string of his crossbow just as he releases a bolt. He's managed to knock 1 heart off of me. You got to feel for the poor fella because he's not really going to have an awful lot of luck. I'm just going to have a little regen potion there just to really irritate him. And let's carry on and let him break his crossbow. Now, the durability on a crossbow is quite high, so this is still going to take a long while. And there you have it, 1 broken crossbow. And that fella is just stood there with its arms at its sides as if to say, no, I wasn't attacking you. I don't know what you're talking about. I'm just going to walk over here. Please don't hit me with anything sharp. And he's basically pretends to be passive, even though clearly he's not. He just stood there, look, arms at his sides. Look, I'm just marching. Don't worry about me. I'm just marching. Pillagers are the newest member of the Illager family, only added in the Village and Pillage update in snapshot 18W43A for Java, which was back in October 18. However, it was added in November 18 for Bedrock in 1.9.0.0. Now, pillagers are probably the least exciting Illager to kill, but if you do get a little bit of loot. They're worth 5 XP orbs, and they will drop a crossbow, generally speaking one that's got a durability hit, but they are also possibly going to drop an ominous banner if they are the leader of a group of pillagers. Let him go down there. Thank you very much. It's also possible that they can drop between 0 and 2 arrows, but there is a lower chance that the arrow drop will happen. We have come to a woodland mansion to find the next Illager species, and that is the Vindicator. Now, I'm in survival mode because I want to see the Vindicator with his axe out rather than him just waving around with his arms in his sleeves. That's not what we want at all. So I've got to come into here very carefully. Just have a bit of food and see if we can't see one of these fellas. They will chase us. I guarantee it. If they see us, they will chase us, and it will be a little bit scary, but at least then you'll understand what it's like to have a Vindicator with an axe trying to take out your eyes. There's one there. Are we going to see him? And here he comes. That is not a fun thing to see. Oh, and we got a zombie as well, and we got stuck. Oh, so I'm trying to run around the corners. The Vindicator is fast. We're coming around the corners this way. Yeah, I know. What are you waiting there for? Come on then, if you think you're hard enough. And every now and again, he fools you into thinking that he's being a nice guy by putting his hands in his arms. He's not a nice guy. So as you saw, these Vindicators are axe-wielding maniacs. They are not your friend, even though they pretend to be with their arms in their sleeve like that. They're not nice people. Now, they spawn in these woodland mansions in groups of between 1 and 3, and you don't want to take 3 of these guys on your own. That will not be good for your health. In Bedrock, patrols can also have Vindicators as part of them, but that is not the case in Java. They'll also spawn as part of a raid when you enter a village with the bad omen effect, and we're going to try and do that a little bit later. If killed, a Vindicator will drop its axe around about 1 in 12 times, but there is also a 50% chance that they could drop an emerald, which is very nice indeed. What is going to happen? There we go. We've got an emerald, but we didn't get his axe. There is also a small percentage chance that they could drop some iron armour or tools, but it's very rare. Vindicators joined the game in September 2016 as part of the 1.11 update. You only ever found them in the Woodland Mansions then. Now, as you can see, Vindicators are not really that bothered about mobs. They want to kill players and they want to kill villagers, and that's pretty much it. However, there is the obvious problem when you call it Johnny. If you call a Vindicator Johnny, all of a sudden it just goes a little bit mental and it only doesn't attack other Illagers, specifically real, true, honest Illagers. Other than that, it's going to take on absolutely everyone. Look, the zombie pigman there's having a little bit of a dance with that Vindicator. That's lovely. Vindicator's not happy. Let's call it Johnny. Oh, all of a sudden it just goes mad. It's having a go at all sorts. It doesn't want that. It doesn't want that chicken. Although it seems to have got stuck on the chicken. The chicken's hiding in the grass. That's a clever chicken. Oh, don't move, chicken. That's a really bad idea. There you go. It's even having a go at the creeper. That was probably a mistake. Now, what's really interesting is that Vindicators are normally good mates with these Ravagers because they're all part of the raid parties that go on. Sometimes you can even get a Vindicator riding on a Ravager when they're raiding a village. But if you call it Johnny, it doesn't care. It's not its mate anymore, and it has a right old go. That poor little bull-like thing. It's only so gentle. The Vindicator wants it in a sandwich. But if we put a couple of other Illagers in here, we've got a Vindicator and a Pillager, and mate Johnny, no, he's all right with them. He doesn't mind them. Our next friends are the Evokers. You can find these in the mansions as well. Generally speaking, they live on the upper levels. You don't tend to find them on the floor level, certainly. And these guys are magical Illagers. They can summon nasty little flying mobs called Vexes, which are ghost-like as they can pass through blocks and attack their victims. Because of this, Evokers are a very, very dangerous enemy. They also came into play September 2016 as part of the 1.11 update. They can also be part of a village raid, and from wave 5 they appear and start to have a right old go at the villagers, and they can also be riding Ravagers from raid 7. He doesn't seem too interested in me at the moment. So we have gone into survival mode here, and that's because I want to try and get an Evoker to attack us, and you'll see the Vexes that come for us. They're nasty, nasty little fellas. So if I can find an Evoker, I've already got rid of all the Vindicators. There's a large chicken, not quite what I was looking for. Evoker, Evoker, where are you, Evoker? Not there. I can hear you. There's a Skelly, obviously, because that's what I was looking for. Let's get rid of the Skelly first. Okay, so I've got 2 Evokers here. That is not all I hoped and dreamed for. What I'll do is I'll see if I can dispatch one. There he goes. He's brought these. See, did you see them? These are horrible little Vex things. They are the nastiest things you could ever wish. And there's also got fangs coming up in the ground. They are also really nasty. And doesn't matter what your armor does, those fangs are still going to get you. It only matters if you've got a protection enchantment. Look, see what I mean? Bang. We're all over this. These guys are nasty. They run away from you. The Vexes just attack you, and the Evokers are cowards. If it wasn't for the fact that I've got some serious armour on here, I would be in proper trouble. Let's get this guy. That's one gone. Right, you'll notice what it's picked up. I need to be very careful here. I need to get this regen potion in me fast, and it's probably not going to be good enough. Yep, I died. So I am back again. You can see now the Vexes have been released. They are flying all over the place, but they do have a limited shelf life. They're taking damage just as a result of being alive, and eventually, like that last one, these will just die. What that does is it just stops them accumulating all over the place, and you end up not having a fistful of vexes. That's not something that's good for your life. So these evokers, when they die, they drop one of these fellas. It is a totem of undying, and if you put that in your offhand or even your normal hand and you fight away and end up dying, what happens is you get a big flash of boom, and all of a sudden you're not dead anymore, and you're just basically back to the way you were. The totem of undying is absorbed and you don't die. However, if you happen to be in a big battle and you don't die, you can continue to be deaded afterwards, so do be careful. You might need a stash of these. However, the problem with that is once these guys die, they don't respawn. You can't get them to just come back naturally. The only way these guys spawn outside of the mansion on World Generation is in a village raid. Avomance, what are you doing in a woodland mansion with a blue sheep, I hear you ask? Well, there's one thing about evokers that's really quite strange. They are not a fan of blue sheep. In fact, they hate blue sheep. It's their other magic, is blue sheep. So come with me, blue sheep, and find out what happens when the evoker finds this blue sheep anywhere near him. It's not happy. What does it do? Whoa. And it turns it to a red sheep. They're much happier with red sheep for some reason. Now we have come to a lonely old spot here with a weird floating rock to summon in a really nasty piece of work. This is the Illusioner. Now the Illusioner is a Java only mob. This does not appear in Bedrock at all, and in fact it's not really appearing in Java properly because you have to summon it in a bit like you do the giant zombie. It doesn't appear in raids, it doesn't appear in the mansion, it doesn't appear in anything else that might be to do with the game. You have to physically summon it in. It's not got an egg. You get my meaning? You can't get this unless you summon it, but it's probably just as well because they're not very nice. I have come into survival mode because I want to get this fella to try and attack me. He's not going to try, he's definitely going to attack me. And he's quite a nasty piece of work. He attacks with both a bow and spells. The bow doing as much damage as a skeleton would do. And he will drop that bow about 8% of the time if he spawns in with it in his hand. He doesn't always, but if he does, he's got an 8% chance of dropping it, about 1 in 12. So I've got projectile protection on all of my armour, just to give me a bit of a fighting chance. He does, however, have 2 bits of magic that we'll talk about, hopefully, as he attacks us. So, regen potions ready, food there, let's hit the button. Right, so the guy's coming out, and he's got, you see that? He's got blue magic going on all around him when he came up. That means he's thinking about something. He's attacking me with his bow, but he's not doing me any damage at the moment. I need to come and attack him for him to actually give me some problems. So let's just hit him once with my sword. There he goes. And he automatically goes into duplication mode. He's made himself invisible. You can see they're just a bit wobbly. They're going into that block there. They're not real. You can see they're not real, but he is invisible. He's somewhere in the middle here. You can see when you hit him, they come in together and they shoot straight back out again. And he continues to lob arrows at me. Let's try and do him again, because I want to try and get him to do his other magic spell. He's not really fooling me with that one floating out over there. But I do, however, need to try. Look, they're all in there. What's going on? They glitched right through. I'm trying to get him to do his really, really nasty attack, but he doesn't look like he wants to. And there we go. We killed him before he had the chance to do his nasty attack, which is a bit of a shame, really. His nasty attack is blindness. He actually makes you blind. And when he casts it, rather than that blue particle effect that goes around him, you get a black one. And that's why I've got my milk in my hand here, because drinking milk will negate that effect. And what's quite good is he can only cast it on you just the once, unless he starts to attack someone else and then comes back to attacking you. But generally speaking, when they start to attack someone, they tend to keep focusing on them. Now, the last thing pillagers are really, really known for are village hating. They don't like villagers at all, and as a result, they raid them. But only if you go in there with the bad omen effect. It's like an invitation for them to go and raid. They blame the villagers for the fact that you killed one of their mates. So I'm going to give myself the bad omen effect. You can see here, I've given it to me and I've got that mad cow thing going on the right hand side. I'm going to walk into the village and that is going to trigger a raid. That will make all the villagers go mental. And then we can talk about what's happening. So I just need to get into the perimeter of the village, which is just about here. And you can see when I get inside the village, I will get that raid bar, there it is, just start rolling across. And the villagers are just starting to go mad. They've dinged the dong. All of them are having a little ding. They want to make sure they all ding it so everybody knows. They're all panicky. And once I ring that bell, if we see a raid party coming, it will light them up like a beacon. Let's see if it works. Not close enough quite yet. Oh, there they come. You can see the white outlines of them. They are going to be going for these villagers, and the villagers are just not bright enough, frankly, to know that they're meant to run away. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get rid of this raid. We're not going to go through all of the waves of this particular raid because, frankly, we'd be here for about an hour and a half. They get quite intense, but they're worth it. I recommend you have a good go at a raid. Make sure you got some good armour. We've got a Vindicator that is the party leader, so let's give him a little go and we'll grab his ominous banner. There's one person left. Where is it? Let's ding the dong and let's see if we can see him. There it is. He's inside the house. He got stuck. God love him. Right. There we go. So that is now going to bring in the second raid. Why are they hiding in the well? You know it's not a good place to hide, right? Here they are, they're all glowy, and let's give these a good go. The golems actually decided to join in this time, which is a bonus. There we go, we've got the next full wave. That was part 2 of wave 1. There they are going through, and this one has got ravager beasties. No rider with this ravager beasties yet, but he is going to have a right go. They are so powerful. If you're trying to save a village, get rid of the ravager as fast as you can, but be careful because 2 hits from a ravager and you are dead. They've also brought a witch with this one, look, and the witch will be, whilst it's not an Illager, will be doing its best to support the Illagers because she has also been rejected by the villager community for having a silly app. One last one, he's stuck in the well. Oh, bless you. Fish in a barrel. A very unpleasant piece of work, every single one of them, and I wouldn't want to be tripping over this family reunion that I've got going on behind me here. If you have enjoyed this video, please do remember to slap that like button. It'd be great to know you're enjoying it, and I will keep on making them. And also, if you've not done it already, please do hit that subscribe button. It'd be great to see you in my sub club. I look forward to seeing you in another video. You take it easy now. Bye.